On August 11th, in the small community of Red Lodge, Montana, a family made one of the cardinal mistakes of camping in bear country, and it might have cost a little girl her life. According to a press release published by Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, a 3-year-old girl was attacked and injured by a black bear at around 10 o'clock while inside her family's tent. Upon hearing this story, I knew immediately what had happened. Someone had been careless with attractants, and an innocent girl and a black bear paid the price. According to investigators from Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, they found unsecured attractants, including garbage, a cooler, and human food, around and inside the tent where the attack occurred. The female black bear that was involved in this incident apparently was previously unknown to wildlife managers and had no apparent history of conflicts with humans. The bear, quote, likely became food conditioned and human habituated after accessing unsecured attractants in the area. Listen, I know that a lot of you parents have this fear that while camping, a bear or some other animal will come into your tent and do someone harm. But incidents like this are extremely predictable and avoidable. I have 3 young children, and their safety is always my top priority. Every single one of my children has camped in grizzly and black bear country since they were newborns. For that reason, my wife and I take food, trash, and odor management very seriously. Attractants of any kind are never allowed in our tent or near our sleeping gear. Obviously, this means that our food and garbage are properly stored in a bear-safe locker or in our car. But beyond food and trash, there are other items that can also attract bears, including hand lotions, cosmetics, lip balms, soaps, and in some cases, even water bottles. Whether we're in bear country or not, we guard our tent and sleeping area from exposure to all possible attractants. Bears have a remarkable, truly otherworldly sense of smell, and odors from previous trips and outings can and do linger on fabrics, including tent canvas and bedding. Just don't take the chance. Keep everything that might be an attractant in your car or a bear box. Now, if you have kids, you know that they also tend to collect odors, especially food odors. For that reason, my wife and I follow a simple schedule every night when camping. Our kids have their play and eating clothes, and then they have their sleeping clothes. And each night we wipe them clean and change their clothes before we get into bed. And all their dirty clothes are properly secured in either our car or a bear box. And I admit that sometimes it is a chore, but it's also a small price to pay for their safety. Finally, we always keep an appropriate deterrent within reach, even at night. Just remember, if keeping bear spray in your tent, make sure it is an unused canister, because expelled bear spray has an odor and can attract bears and other animals to your tent. It's not my intention to rub salt into anybody's wounds. As a parent myself, I imagine this little girl's family is struggling quite a bit right now. And fortunately, her injuries appear to be minor. But we cannot afford to not discuss what needs to be learned from this attack. This is the kind of thing that should never happen and is easy to avoid. Now, I don't know what kind of camping experience this little girl's family has had over the years. This could have been their first outing. And then again, her parents or guardians may have been camping their entire lives without a problem. But this speaks to one of my primary cautions about spending time in wild spaces. Experience is a mirage. There are a great many people, including Timothy Treadwell, who routinely ignored proper food storage protocols when camping in bear country. And for years, it wasn't a problem. At least until it turned deadly. Do yourself a huge favor and learn the bear attack ABCs, which include avoiding conflicts, in large part by storing your food, trash, and gear properly. You and your family are at your most vulnerable when asleep. For that reason, you never want to incentivize any investigation of your sleeping area by a bear. And while everyone nowadays is terrified of being labeled a quote Karen, if you are camped by me and my family and you leave food, trash, and other attractants strewn about, you can expect me to say something about it.
If you're too much of a princess to take care of your own trash, stay the heck out of Yellowstone.
That is exactly what I did 3 years ago when a group of narcissistic college kids threw a frat party that lasted until 2 o'clock in the morning in the campsite neighboring my campsite. Not only did they disrupt my family's sleep, which was inconsiderate enough, but the fact that they left beer, trash, and food strewn about all night long in grizzly country was a far greater concern for me. It's not just a matter of courtesy, it's a life and death matter of human safety. And children aren't the only ones that are put at risk when people don't properly manage their food and trash. Adults are harmed too. In 2021, 65-year-old Leah Loken was dragged from her tent by a grizzly bear near Ovando, Montana. Not only had Leah and her companions kept food in their tents, but the subsequent investigation concluded that past campers had also failed to manage their food and trash properly. The incident that claimed Leah's life almost exactly mirrors this most recent episode in Red Lodge, Montana. The most notable exception being that the 3-year-old victim in this case has been hospitalized. Leigh, who has been described as an experienced camper, never made it that far. She died in her campsite as her friends attempted to free her from the grizzly's jaws. If you see someone failing to manage their food, trash, and other attractants responsibly, I encourage you to make the camp manager, host, or rangers aware of the issue. Let the proper authorities handle the situation, but I hope that this incident will remind you that failure to manage odors and attractants can have dire consequences in bear country. Finally, while my primary concern is with the welfare of this precious child, I am also angry that a bear was necessarily euthanized after the fact. If you followed At Home in Wild Spaces long, you know that I love bears. I have had them in my campsite, I've encountered them on the trails, I have observed them responsibly since I was a teenager. They are amazing animals. And yes, when they die needlessly because of human foolishness, it angers me. Someone, after watching my latest video where I discuss how to stop a charging or attacking bear, left a comment seemingly celebrating a young woman who has been filming herself hand-feeding wild black bears, arguing that bears are, quote, misunderstood animals. And that's true. Bears are misunderstood. They are neither pets nor monsters. If you spend time in bear country, please commit to keeping bears wild by properly managing your food, trash, and gear. People who intentionally or unintentionally give wild bears food are placing both people and bears in harm's way. In my book, both practices are equally contemptible. My kids love our bear encounters, but as a parent, it is my responsibility to ensure that our outings are safe. There is no better reason to keep a clean camp. Until next time, this is Mike, wishing this precious little girl a speedy recovery, and hoping all of us will commit to cleaning up after ourselves when exploring wild spaces. I got here just right after the fact. I was a little grumpy about it. People pretty like, everybody was just like,